Okay, so we're here at Erin Mills Town Center again. Questions a little bit by asking people three sort of the same, similar, but slightly different. I want to point. I should point me into the sun, not you. Okay. First question will be, which do you think is more important to Canada's future? Free speech or political correctness? See what they say there. Second question will be, have you yourself ever witnessed here in Canada what you would call an Islamophobic incident, like maybe violence or something like that? I don't think somebody calling somebody names, I don't think that should be considered an incident. That's free speech. People get to call each other bad names all the time, and you don't have to make a law for it. We already have laws called disorderly conduct if you get out of control, not with speech, but with violence. But to say that we need a special law because somebody says some bad words, no, I don't agree with that. I don't think anybody should agree with that. I think so. What I want to find out from that question is violent type incidents where people was demonstrated Islamophobia in a violent type manner. Okay. Third question is to find out, and we're again in Iqra Khalid's riding, find out how many people here have heard of this motion, M-103, which threatens to take away some of our free speech rights, our rights to talk about religions in a critical manner. I don't care if they don't like it. It's free speech here in Canada. Religion is a theory. It's not a proven fact. It's not, even if it was a proven fact, we would be able to talk about it. So that's what we're going to try to do. You okay for this? We'll just do it quickly. Okay, so I interviewed this one young fellow once before, but the camera wasn't running, so we're going to try again. First question is, which do you think is more important to Canada's future, free speech or political correctness?
Free speech, honestly, because, it's nice to say what you have to say, but as long as it's not in a bad way, all right?
What happens if it isn't a bad way? You got to go to jail?
I don't believe you should go to jail. I mean, I believe you maybe talk to somebody about why you're stressed out or why you have something against it.
Sure, but the point of free speech laws, I just like to point this out to people. The point of free speech laws, why they were written into the books, is not for talk that does not offend people. It's for the people. It's for the talk that people are going to be offended by. That's why the rules are in the laws are in the book. It's not for speech that everybody's happy with. It's for speech that everybody hates. That is the reason for free speech laws. Second question is, I see I'm just starting again. Second question is, yes, have you yourself ever witnessed, personally witnessed, I guess we'll say in a violent type Islamophobic event or incident in Canada?
No, not really. I mean, I haven't seen anybody be tacked out of just their race or anything, but I mean, there's people out there that do it, which, is really bad. I have never seen it personally, but I mean, I've heard about it. People have said things about it. I mean, everybody says something, but I can't say anything until I see it.
Okay, and third question is M-103, motion M-103, which is before Parliament, as I explained to you a few minutes ago. You had not heard of it before. Let's just ask you if you think that sounds like a motion that would restrict and limit our free speech rights for any reason. Do you think that type of motion even belongs before Parliament?
Honestly, I don't think that this should stop us from saying what we have to say. But I mean, just bring it down to where you don't say it out where it offends everybody. Yes, you can say it nicely and you can say it meanly. There's two ways of saying it, but everybody has to say what they have to say, or it's just not going to get out of the way.
Everybody has to, yeah, I agree. Everybody has to say what they're going to say. And people's hearts may be in the right place where they want to soften the free speech laws, but it's such a dangerous thing to do. And, I turn on the TV and Bill Maher says things that offend me, and I'd like to see him taken off the air because he's a moron. But not a moron, but he just has some bad attitudes. And but I accept that that's free speech. People get to say stuff that I don't like, that I might even hate them saying. That's free speech.
Well, I mean, you can't stop somebody from saying what they say, but I mean, like everybody says, you can only say one thing once, and you can either regret it or move on with it. All right.
And we have laws to take care of the violence if there is any Islamophobic type violence, whatever Islamophobia is. disorderly conduct laws. If somebody's chasing somebody, Muslim, down the street and harassing them all the time, they can be charged with disturbing the peace, with disorderly conduct. There's laws on the books for that. First question is, which do you think is more important to Canada's future, free speech or political correctness?
I think they're both pretty essential for Canada's future, but personally I think that free speech is definitely ranked higher on my list, but maybe that's not everyone's opinion, I don't know.
That's the right opinion, as far as I'm concerned.
I'd say the second option.
Political correctness is more important than free speech. Okay. Is that what you want to leave it at?
Yeah.
Okay. Second question is, here in Canada, have you yourself ever witnessed what you would call an Islamophobic incident?
Yeah, for sure. Well, just maybe not Islamophobia, but just maybe racism against like certain cultures. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
So someone exhibited their free speech that was not favorable towards Islam, and when I said Islamophobia, you categorize that as an Islamophobic incident, right? I'm not judging. I'm just trying to get things clear. Yourself too.
I don't know.
Third question is, have you heard of motion M-103, which is before Parliament right now, brought by the MP for this riding, Iqra Khalid? Have you heard of that motion, M-103?
heard of it.
Have not heard of the motion. Have you heard of M-103?
No, I haven't.
It's a motion that would make it, they want to study so-called Islamophobia, and they want to spend money and time studying Islamophobia and possibly make it a law that it would be punishable under law, a jailable offense, to punishable, like they use the word quell, which is a violent word. It would be a jailable offense to criticize Islam. Yeah. Now this is what the motion the MP for this area brought before Parliament. Parliament said, okay, we'll take that. We'll look into it, which they're going to start doing this fall. I think it's a complete waste of time. It should not even have put before motion or before Parliament because it threatens to take away free speech rights. So okay, again, you have not heard of it.
No, I haven't heard of it. But so basically, they're just gonna like enforce a law that it's like if you make some like I guess Islamophobic statement, you can face charges. Yeah, honestly, I think that's pretty ridiculous. Like, I mean, if you got a problem with,
It's already happening in Britain.
oh yeah, oh well, I mean, the thing is, I don't know. I mean, if they're trying to, like, yeah, again, it's not a good thing to be racist. Of course, I'm not trying to promote that, but I think at the same time that free speech is something that, if we don't have anything, you still have free speech. So I mean,
I think you're wise. It's the most important of our rights. It's why in the States, it's why it's number one. It's so important to a democracy. Freedom of speech is number one. Yeah, and I find so many Canadians are saying, well, free speech is good, but up to a point, you know, and if it's going to actually hurt somebody, then no, we shouldn't have free speech. Free speech laws weren't put in the books for ice cream and puppy dogs. It was put in the books so that people could talk about things that other people are going to hate them saying. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to get across, people. Fairly easy, except for the last one isn't that easy. Okay, first question is, which do you think is more important to Canada's future, free speech or political correctness?
Oh boy, that's a difficult one. I think that depends, actually.
Which is most important?
I'm gonna go with political correctness.
I say free speech, to be honest.
Free speech. Free speech.
Thank you. You want to change your answer? No. Okay. Okay. Second question is: have you yourself, and this applies to you, have you yourself witnessed what you would call an Islamophobic incident here in Canada?
Yes, I have. I mean, it was back in like grade 4 where this kid like just came up to me and he's like, "Oh my God, you're Muslim," and then like he literally just like walked away, said like, "Don't ever talk to me again." I was pretty traumatized as a grade 4. I was a 4th grader, so I was traumatized.
I mean, you see it on the streets, but me personally, I don't really deal with like what you did, but I mean, in Toronto, you see it a lot. You hear people saying things? And especially for like older folk as well. I live around like my neighbors, like sometimes they're a bit like racist too. So
Okay, but
yeah,
have you ever seen like violence or
not
really
violence in particular.
harassing somebody, chasing down the street,
No,
harassing
not
them?
like that. Just
Okay.
verbally. Yeah.
Well,
Wait. What did that mean? I didn't understand the
Okay. So when I
racism. Like,
I'm not asking for racism. I'm asking Islamophobia, which they're bringing in. When I ask them, have you seen an Islamophobic incident? What they say? I just want to know what they say.
Oh, I don't know. I'll pass. Go ahead.
Personally, I had experienced an Islamophobic experience. Coincidentally, I was just talking about it. My neighbor, when I first moved to Canada, was they're visibly like Caucasian, and basically, I'm not sure if he was mentally ill or anything, but he used to bang on our house with like a sledgehammer, and he would say, "Get out, you effing Pakistanis," basically. So he kept on saying stuff like that, and like Muslims, Pakistanis, even though I'm Indian.
Okay. Hindu maybe.
No, I'm Muslim.
Oh, okay. Oh, you are Muslim. Okay, so that was wrong. I mean, the guy should not be on your property, let alone bagging on your house. So, okay. So the third question is, in this riding, which is the Erin Mills riding, the MP for this riding, the Canadian parliamentary MP, her name is Ikra Khalid, and she has tabled a motion, brought a motion before Parliament that is called M-103. M-103. Has any of you heard of M-103? Nobody has heard of M-103. Okay, you're in her riding. Do you all live in this riding? Okay. You live in this riding. You have not heard of this motion. This motion is tabled, and it's supposed to research Islamophobia. They're going to spend time and money researching Islamophobia, and they want to quell, which is a violent word meaning to stop with force. They want to quell anybody who is Islamophobic. So, in other words, this could mean that we go to jail for criticizing Islam or other religions. They're mentioned as well, but only Islam is mentioned specifically in this motion. So you have not heard of that motion. Do you think a motion like that looks like it could limit our free speech rights here in Canada, does such a motion even belong in Parliament? Should it have even been brought before Parliament?
it's violent. Like, it's not solving anything with violence. It's better. It's like, how do you say this? I guess their intentions are like kind of good, but the way that they're going through with it is not the best.
Thank you. That's what I think. A lot of the people, like I'll call myself a right winger. In the States, I'd be a wild liberal, but here in Canada, I'm a right winger. And the problem with a lot of left wingers is that they think they do have good hearts. Like, they want to help people and be kind and have good hearts and things like that. But you can only do that to a certain point before reality starts to kick in, and you got to save your own skin, to a certain degree, right? And this motion is being tabled before, and it's aiming to take away some of our free speech rights, which is a slippery slope, very dangerous thing, and nobody knows about it. Nobody, you're in her riding, you have not heard about it at all, okay? And I was born and raised in Canada. I've had free speech all my life, and I don't want to lose it, So I'm letting people know that this is happening. M-103, look it up. And I thank you for your time, ladies, and have yourself a great day, okay? Thank you. You're welcome. Free speech or political correctness?
I think it would be free speech. I really do.
Okay. And second question is, have you yourself in Canada here personally witnessed yourself what you would call an Islamophobic incident?
I feel that I have. Not major incidences, like violent, but I've definitely witnessed.
Witness violence. Can you describe that?
No.
Not violence. Okay, so it's just, I guess, words were spoken? Yeah, okay, which is our free speech rights. Okay, and the third question is M-103, which is a motion that was brought before Parliament by the MP for this riding. Her name is Ikra Khalid. She's a Pakistani Muslim been here in Canada a long time, but she tabled this motion which looks to study Islamophobia. It mentions Islamophobia in the bill, but no other religion. And it looks like it's aiming to curb or quell, which is a violent word, quell anybody who is Islamophobic. So you could be going to jail for being Islamophobic or saying something against Islam. The question I ask is, have you heard of that motion?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Do you feel a motion like that looks to limit our free speech rights, should that have even been brought before Parliament?
I think that it's not yet the time to bring that type of motion in, because honestly, I don't know how bad it is, but I haven't seen that much Islamophobic incidences. So I feel that if this was becoming a huge problem, I feel like it should be maybe brought in a bit. But as of right now, I think that free speech is a bit more.
And we do have laws, disorderly conduct laws, that if somebody gets carried away harassing a Muslim down the street, they can be arrested for that. We have laws for that already. All right, young man, thank you very much for your time. Have yourself a great day. So the first question is, which is more important to Canada's future, free speech or political correctness?
Well, free speech, of course.
And the second question is, have you yourself ever witnessed what you would call an Islamophobic event or incident here in Canada?
No.
Okay. And the third question is, have you heard of motion M-103?
Absolutely have.
Okay. Can you just prove that by mentioning something?
Well, it seems to be the thin edge of the wedge to start what may end up being a Sharia law implementation in Canada.
It's aiming at taking away our free speech or ability to criticize. They say all religions, but it mentions Islam only in the motion, which I have with me actually. And that's in this riding. Ikra Khalid is the MP for this riding. So I'm asking people in this riding if they know of it, and you're the first to actually have known of it. Thanks for your time, sir. Have a great day. Which do you think is more important to Canada's future, free speech or political correctness?
I would have to say free speech.
Okay, and the second question is, have you yourself in Canada witnessed what you might call an Islamophobic incident?
I have not personally witnessed an incident like that, no.
And the third question is, the riding that this mall is in is Erin Mills. It's run by the MP Ikra Khalid. She's born in Pakistan, Muslim, but she's lived here many years. She's the MP. She's tabled a motion before Parliament called M-103. Have you heard of M-103?
No.
Okay, M-103 is a motion to it suggests that they spend money and time looking into Islamophobia, researching Islamophobia, and possibly quelling people who speak against Islam, which is a violent word, as you may know. So you did not know about M-103. Do you feel that a motion that possibly limits our free speech rights, does that even belong to be tabled to the Parliament in Canada?
I would need to have a lot more information to be able to.
Show you if you like. There's the wording of the motion right there.
Well, I would have to assume that that there probably are cases of Islamophobia in Canada, even though I have not personally witnessed it or experienced it or seen it. I would suspect that there are incidences of that, and so this is one response to that. So again, I would need a lot more information. I'd want to talk to more people about it. It would be interesting to speak to the MP.
Okay, first question is, which do you think is more important to Canada's future, free speech or political correctness?
Free speech.
And have you yourself in Canada ever personally witnessed what you might call an Islamophobic event or incident?
No.
Okay, and have you heard of motion M-103?
Probably, I believe so.
Okay, we're going to have to try a little harder.
Was that the thing, the anti-blasphemy?
That's right, the anti-blasphemy.
Anti-blasphemy, but it specifically more focuses on the Islamic side and not everyone else.
I actually have the text of it here if you'd like to read it. It's right there. And it has the word quell in it in the first couple of sentences. That is a very violent word. If you look it up, it means to stop with force, to physically stop with force. And they're talking about quelling anybody who's Islamophobic without a definition of what Islamophobic is. Right? We need to do. That's what they want to do, is study Islamophobia. And I say, if we're going to spend time doing, everybody's answering no. I've never seen an Islamophobic event in Canada. So if we have no, if we have no problem with Islamophobia, why are we spending time and money studying it? And why is it just Islamophobia? Why don't we study, Jewophobia or blackophobia or any kind of Sikhophobia? There's all kinds of different things we could be studying. Why is it only mentioning Islam, and why was this tabled before Parliament in a country that has free speech?
The hate law statistics actually show that the highest rate of hate laws of hate crimes are against Jewish people, not Islamists. They're number 18 to 20th on the list. It is getting more, but white males and Jews are the top ones.
I concur. I know those facts are real, and we're in a country that is, actually it's a world now that is really screaming Islamophobia, Islamophobia, but the Jews have suffered for a long time, much worse than the Islamists have. And yeah, it's getting out of hand. People have to bring back to reality, not made up nonsense.
We have a problem of too much political correctness and special status. If you don't get rid of the special status for groups, you will have one group fighting against another group, fighting against the other group, fighting against the other group, on all claiming special status, my land, my type, my this. And it's all in the name of peace, but imagine this, 50, 60, or 200 native people who are now Islamic wanting to go on the reserve and build and bring Islam there. Can you imagine the potential problems?
And you raise a good point in that Islam is like, it's only one religion. Why are we focusing on it so much? Okay, they do all the terrorist bombings that we're seeing, but in a democracy, you don't put one group aside and say, okay, they get special treatment, because what that does is creates an injustice to the people who don't get the special treatment and maybe want it, and then you can never have peace. If there's never justice, you can never have peace. So this idea that we're going to make things peaceful by giving this one group special status, that's insane.
That worked 300, 400 years ago with a tiny population, with white, native, and black, and Quebec separate. It doesn't work when you have 45 different cultures all in the same place.
You're saying about Quebecois.
The British in the past, to make peace, said Quebecois culture separate, English culture, native culture separate. It worked then for 3 cultures and lots of space in between. Now with 40 different cultures, some of them wanting the same rights and specialties and the same gifts, well, not gifts, they want the same allowances too, that will cause and has caused problems.
Yeah, I'm full free speech rights and full freedom. I don't want allowances or things written into the law for special groups. Forget it. This is a level playing field, and everybody should be just treated the same. There should be no special favoritism to any one group or persons, and we're just asking for trouble when we start. We're getting away from democracy when we do that, and our country is sliding down into totalitarianism or something.
The hard part is to get rid of the special status for anybody is how do you get rid of the Indian Act and the special rules for Quebec and the special rules for women and special rules for others? How do you get rid of that? It'll be a political blowback to whoever's in charge.
Do you feel that we need to start tackling that, though, or is it just something we cannot get to the bottom of?
What will happen, and is happening if you don't, is this. You'll have a person with 400 years history here who is mixed with white, black, Asian, Native American, being called an immigrant, but they're not immigrants. They're a new form of Native American. After 500, 600 years from now, how do you call someone with 800 years history an immigrant where you have family here of multi-races and whatever for 800 years? They're going to say, give me special status now because I'm special.